Hello and welcome back to the History Shelf. I am your host, Peg. And welcome back for new arrivals, the fiction edition. I have a ton of, I won't say a ton, but I've gotten several fiction books in the mail from publishers. And I thought I would share these with you. I have a lot of viewers that check out the fiction that I read and are always curious about, what's coming across the desk here at the circular desk of the history shelf. It might as well be a library circular desk because the way the books are flowing in and out. So I've got some new stuff. I've had authors reach out to me and want to share their books with me, and that is just what a feeling is that. And I just want to say thank you for trusting me with your work, and I'm happy to share it with my viewers and see what is resonating with the folks out there. Now, my camera's glitching again, and I don't know why. It's a cloudy, overcast day. There's no heavy winds or anything like that, but we're gonna do our best here. So the last video that I just posted was for the history books that came across and nonfiction, current events, political kind of stuff. But these are just a bunch of very eclectic fiction books that have a lot of different angles and a lot of different genres. All right, well, let's start with the good folks at Other Press. And this sounds like something I think a lot of you might be interested in. I know I am. This is called Son of Sve, A Tale of the People's Home by Lena Anderson. It's translated by Sarah Death. I am not kidding you. Sarah Death, unless it's pronounced Death. I don't know, but okay. It says here, from one of Sweden's most astute cultural critics, a razor-sharp comedy of the progress and ruin of the industrial welfare state told through the story of a single family. Ragnar Johansson is born in 1932, a transformative moment in Swedish history. He has Swedish social democracy flowing through his veins, convinced it lifted humankind out of the Dark Ages and into modernity. He cherishes it. At times, Ragnar despises his mother, Svea, whose perpetual baking, scrubbing, and canning represent the poverty of the peasantry. Ragnar, for his part, hails the efficiency of washing machines and prefab food. Once he has children himself, he raises them in accordance with his values, standing in the ski track, supporting his daughter Elsa as she works hard to become one of the best skiers in the country. While Svea is a relic of the past, Elsa represents hope for the future. In time, however, Ragnar realizes that the world is changing. Is his golden age coming to an end? In Son of Svea, Lena Anderson offers a characteristically funny, wise, and moving family chronicle about the social transformations that unite and divide us, and about finding the courage to be true to oneself. So there you have it. That sounds pretty good, actually. It's about a little over about 270 pages. And here is our author, Leah Anderson. There you go. Another work in translation from the good folks at Other Press. Oop, I'm dropping things left and right. All right. Now, this looks like a fun little novel. You know, you guys, I love my mysteries and my thrillers and just stuff like that. This is a little thing, little tiny little novel. The author contacted me and I said, would I be interested? And she kind of told me what it was about. I said, hell yeah, because it sounded kind of like a rip-roaring, kind of strong woman, kind of thriller, mystery, graphic detective novel or something like that. So look at this little thing here. This is called Birth of Eros, a novel by Deborah de Blassie. Thank you, Deborah, for sending me a copy. And I will hold up the very cool postcard that I got with it. Check that out. It says here, evoking the lean, compressed style of her award-winning book Drought. Sorry, I read that too fast. Evoking the lean, compressed style of her award-winning book Drought, that's the name of the book, Deborah de Blassie deftly crafts A brazen and unrepentant tragicomedy navigating the complexities of beauty versus ugliness, hate versus love, sexual freedom versus moral hypocrisy, and American materialism in the atomic age. And it's gotten a bunch of blurbs for her writing. I think the other her other book, Drought, was blurbed by Publishers Weekly, New York Times Book Review, Kansas City Star. So it's a tiny little thing, but I'll get through it pretty quickly. This is put out by the good folks. What is the name here? We've got printed. This is from Kernpunkt Press. Kernpunkt. That's KERNPUNKTPRESS. Kernpunktpress.com. Birth of Eros. All right. Could read that in one sitting. All right. Ooh, and then this is another book from Other Press, and this is a hardcover. Another work in translation. It's called It's Getting Dark, Stories by Peter Stam. Translated by Michael Hoffman. It's a very beautiful cover. Very beautiful little hardcover here. Let's see here. If you guys like collections of short stories, this might be up your alley. Let's see what these are about here. Snowed in at a remote artist's residency in Vermont, Peter recalls another Christmas some 30 years earlier when he met Marcia by chance on a trip to New York City. Only now, in this eerie, isolated place, does he begin to see the consequences of their brief affair through a series of connections. When Hubert asks Sabrina to model for a sculpture, she's flattered and happy to help. But facing the finished product, looking at herself from previously hidden angles, disturbs her, and she becomes determined to follow her double after it's sold to a collector. Uneasy in his own skin and with the humdrum life set out for him, David decides to rob a bank. He already has a mask for the purpose, but won't be using it today. He's heard that bank robbers often study the scene for weeks before they strike, so he started to lurk. We think we know our world, but then the familiar suddenly turns strange and even frightening. In these powerfully affecting, minutely constructed stories, Peter Stam illustrates how fragile our reality really is, how susceptible to tricks of the heart and mind. So, little collection of stories. And there's our author here, Peter Stam, again. Other Press does a lot of fiction and translation. So I'm kind of tickled to see these come across. Let me see if I have any others by them. Any others from Other Press? Okay. This one. Okay, what am I doing? Yeah, I got another one from Other Press. This one is called One in Me I Never Loved, a novel by Carla Gelfenbein. Gelfenbein. Small little thing. It doesn't look like it's been. There's no translator needed here, so this is not a work in translation. Small little volume, it's 129 pages. What is this about? I shall tell you. In present-day New York, Margarita grapples with insecurities on her 56th birthday. She feels neglected by her husband and suspects he's having an affair with one of his students. Mysteries surrounding two friends offer both a distraction and unexpected insight. Anne, the concierge of her apartment building, has suddenly vanished without a trace, leaving Anne's mother to confront a long-held secret. Juliana, now in her 80s, is eager to find the woman who changed the course of her life more than 60 years ago. With a seamless blend of reality and fiction, Carla Gelfenbein takes us back to the 1940s to provide answers, drawing on the intimate letters that Chilean poet Gabriela Mistral wrote to her lover and an executor, Doris Dana, in the years after their first meeting at Barnard College. Struggling under the weight of Gabriela's intense attachment, the much younger Doris enjoys a passionate night of sex and alcohol with a childhood friend while they're apart. Far from the chaste, self-sacrificing image imposed on Mistral after her death by Chile's military dictatorship, the characters of One in Me I Never Loved reflect womanhood and all its complexities, challenging the limits on their freedom and sexuality. doesn't that sound fabulous? Small little volume from Other Press. I am looking forward to, again, since I can read that in one sitting. Gotten really good at reading a lot faster, especially with fiction, with book reviewing. So it's kind of good. I can actually, I can read more books every year. So I am very pleased. This next book is put out by Algonquin Press, and I've started to get a few of their books, and this one looks really great. I love fiction set in cold places, high places, mountains. It's just the isolation. Those kind of stories, I'm always drawn to them. So I could buy a book just based on the setting because it intrigues me. And this is Legends of the North Cascades, a novel by Jonathan Evison. He also wrote Small World, which I have not read. Well, let's see. What can I tell you about Legends of the North Cascades? Look at that cover. Dave Cartwright used to be good at a lot of things, but on the heels of his third tour in Iraq, the fabric of his life has begun to unravel. Gripped by PTSD, he finds himself losing his home, his wife, his direction. Most days, his love for his 7-year-old daughter, Bella, is the only thing keeping him going. When tragedy strikes, Dave makes a dramatic decision. The two of them will flee their damaged lives, heading off the grid to live in the wilderness of the Pacific Northwest. As they carve out a home in a cave in that harsh, breathtaking landscape, echoes of the past begin to reach them. Bella retreats into herself, absorbed by visions of a mother and son who lived in the cave thousands of years earlier. Back in town, Dave and Bella themselves are rapidly becoming the stuff of legend to all but those who would force them to return home. And as winter sweeps toward the North Cascades, past and present intertwine into a timeless odyssey. Poignant and profound, Legends of the North Cascades brings Jonathan Evison's trademark vibrant, honest voice to bear on an expansive story that is at once a meditation on the perils of isolation and an exploration of the ways that connection can save us. And this is put out by Knopf Press. This is out right now. This was a June 2021 Indie Next Pick, which I've been hearing a lot about lately. The Indies, Next Picks and stuff. I just need to get a sip of water. One moment. Okay, we are back. And here is another book from Algonquin Books, or Algonquin Press, I should say. And this was an advanced reader copy. This book actually just came out January 4th of this year. I'm sure maybe a lot of you have seen it in book club offerings. I've seen this cover a lot everywhere, but this is Honor, a novel by Thrydi Umriger. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And she is the author of The Space Between Us. Again, this was a advanced review copy, but it is out now. Let's see, do I have the pub sheet? Because I do. Well, I don't, but I have the description on the inside cover. Let's see. When Indian American journalist Smita returns to India to cover the story of Meena, she sees a culture where the marriage of a Hindu woman to a Muslim man is a source of family shame. A culture where being a woman is often shaped by violence. While Meena's fate hangs in the balance, Smita tries in every way she can to right the scales. But she must also finally reckon with the privilege that becoming an American has given her, as well as face the trauma that led to her own family leaving India. While on assignment, Smita also finds herself increasingly drawn to a man she meets. Yet the dual love stories of Honor are as different as the cultures from which they emanate. Smita enters into a casual affair knowing that she can decide later how much it means to her. At what point will she reckon with what her American privilege has afforded her? And what does she owe the women of her homeland? Fans of Etaf Rum's A Woman Is No Man will be gripped by the heartbreaking and perceptive story of Meena and Smita, two women trying to navigate how to live in a country where reprehensible things continue to happen, a country that they want more than anything to love and claim as their own. Fascinating. Sounds like it could be some difficult reading, but also very enlightening, especially, what women are, dealing with in India from one Indian writer's perspective. So, Honor by Thrydi Umriger from Algonquin. Alrighty, the next book here. Actually, and this one is one I won in a sweepstakes or some sort. I entered in to see if I could win not win, well, yeah, just to to see if I could score an advanced reader copy, and I did. And apparently, I didn't realize this at the time. It just sounded like an interesting novel, but this was by the writer of Station 11, which everyone is buzzing about, and I've been reading about it in all these different Slack threads and people, the book buzz stuff, or they're just like, oh, I've just finished reading Station 11. Well, we started trying to watch Station 11 on HBO, I think it is, and wow, it's all over the place, and it's hard to follow, and I think it's condensed for time. The time jumps. I mean, maybe it's part of the book, but I remember someone I work with saying she really enjoyed Station 11, and so we were watching Station 11, several episodes, and I finally said, you know what? I bet you the book is it's better just to read the book because it's too hard to follow what the hell is going on in the series, even though I really love Mackenzie Davis, and that's kind of really what drew me to it. But in any event, I might have to check out her book. But this is Emily St. John Mandel's new book, Sea of Tranquility. As you can see, she has written The Glass Hotel and Station 11. This is an advanced reader copy. Again, like I entered in and I won it. This is put out by Knopf Publishing. So this book, if you're a big fan of Station 11, you're like, oh my God, when is this coming out? This is coming out in April. Okay, so this is a novel of art, time, love, and plague that takes the reader from Vancouver Island in 1912 to a dark colony on the moon nearly 500 years later, unfurling a story of humanity across centuries and space. Yeah, this is coming from Knopf in April 2022, this year. Duh. Let's see. I'll give you a little bit more about the story. Edwin St. Andrew is 18 years old when he crosses the Atlantic by steamship, exiled from polite society following an ill-conceived diatribe at a dinner party. That happens to me all the time. Yeah. He enters the forest, spellbound by the beauty of the Canadian wilderness, and suddenly hears the notes of a violin echoing in an airship terminal, an experience that shocks him to his core. 2 centuries later, a famous writer named Olive Llewellyn is on a book tour. She's traveling all over Earth, but her home is the second moon colony, a place of white stone, spired towers, and artificial beauty. Within the text of Olive's best-selling pandemic novel lies a strange passage. A man plays his violin for change in the echoing corridor of an airship terminal as the trees of a forest rise around him. When Gasp, a detective in the black-skied Night City, is hired to investigate an anomaly in the North American wilderness, he uncovers a series of lives upended. The exiled son of an earl driven to madness, a writer trapped far from home as a pandemic ravages Earth, and a childhood friend from the Night City who, like Gasperi himself, has glimpsed the chance to do something extraordinary that will disrupt the timeline of the universe. A virtuoso performance that is as human and tender as it is intellectually playful, Sea of Tranquility is a novel of time travel and metaphysics that precisely captures the reality of our current moment. So put that on your radars for April, fans of Station 11, and I think I might check out Station 11, the book, because the series was a little too crazy. All right, next 2 books are from Melville House Publishing. And they sent me a delightful little package. This book, I think, is already out. Yeah. Sorry, I got this around Christmas time, so... but this book has already come out in last November. But I'm really happy to have it because it's like a historical... Yeah, it's definitely historical fiction of a sort. And this is The Bloodless Boy by Robert J. Lloyd. And this is an advanced reader's copy, but it's already out, folks, so you can grab it. So The Bloodless Boy... It says here, part Wolf Hall, part The Name of the Rose, a riveting new literary thriller set in Restoration London, with a cast of real historic figures set against the actual historic events and intrigues of the returned king and his court. The City of London, 1678. New Year's Day. 11 years have passed since the Great Fire ripped through the city. 18 since the fall of Oliver Cromwell and the restoration of a king. London is gripped by hysteria, and rumors of Catholic plots and sinister foreign assassins abound. When the body of a young boy, drained of his blood, is discovered on the snowy bank of the Fleet River, Robert Hooke, the curator of experiments at the just-formed Royal Society for the Improving of Natural Knowledge, and his assistant, Harry Hunt, are called in to explain such a ghastly finding and whether it's part of a plot against the king. Wary of the political hornet's nest they are walking into and using scientific evidence rather than paranoia in their pursuit of truth, Hooke and Hunt must discover why the boy was murdered and why his blood was taken. The Bloodless Boy is an absorbing literary thriller that introduces two new indelible heroes to historical crime fiction. So I'm hoping that this is going to be a new series. Sounds like it's going to be the start of a new series. Because it introduces. You got to read what they're saying here in these blurbs, right? It is also a powerfully atmospheric recreation of the darkest corners of Restoration London, where the court and the underworld seem to merge, even as the light of scientific inquiry is starting to emerge. So merge and emerge. You see what they did there? Right. This sounds really good. I'm reading a little bit about the author here. He's very his background's very interesting. It says here, Robert J. Lloyd, the son of parents who worked in the British Foreign Office, grew up in South London, Innsbruck, and Kinshasa. He studied for a fine art degree, starting as a landscape painter, but it was while studying for his MA degree in the history of ideas that he first read Robert Hooke's diary, detailing the life and experiments of this extraordinary man. So after a 20-year career as a secondary school teacher, he has now returned to painting and writing. Good for him. The Bloodless Boy is his debut novel. Yes, he is at work on a sequel. Yay! Yay! So it might only be 2 books, but you never know. So The Bloodless Boy by Robert J. Lloyd. Doesn't that sound great? Because you know I love my thrillers and my mysteries, especially when it's just steeped in history, in British history here, and the monarchy. Very fascinating. Pretty stoked. Okay. Again, coming back to the theme of like mountains, you know me. And so these are the type of fiction stories that I gravitate to. This is also an uncorrected advanced reader's copy, but this book I believe is out. No, it's coming out next month. So what do we have here? We have The Stone World, a novel by Joel Agee. Look at that picture. Isn't this, tell me what mountain this is on the front. I think it's a volcano, isn't it? What's on the front? So a lot of you would probably know. It's is it Denali? I was going to say Mount St. Helens, but that is blown all to hell. I mean, that's just like half the mountains are gone. It's not that. I think that might be not Denali, maybe. I don't know. You know what? This might tell us. I don't know what's wrong with me today. A short little novel, about 50 pages. Oh, this is the son of James Agee. Okay, the son of acclaimed writer, James Agee, delivers a beautiful and haunting recreation of his childhood when his mother fled America for Mexico and raised him amid a circle including expat European communists, local labor activists, and even Frida Kahlo. Isn't that great? Joel Agee's hallucinatory first novel begins in a house with a large garden in an unnamed Mexican town in the late 1940s, where 6.5-year-old Peter reads, dreams, and plays with his friends. He is a nascent explorer, artist, philosopher, mystic, and scientist. His world is still new, not yet papered over with received knowledge. And the actual world around him is a unique one in history, a community of leftist emigres who have found refuge in Mexico from the Nazi and fascist regimes of Europe, rubbing shoulders with Mexican labor activists and leftists such as Frida Kahlo. But the emigres long for home, including Peter's stepfather, who wants to return to his native Germany. Going back to Europe may not be safe for any of them yet, however, which gives rise to anguished arguments among Peter's parents and their tight group of friends. And slowly, Peter begins to comprehend that his world may be turned upside down, that he might be forced to take leave of everyone he knows, his best friend Aaron, his father's friend Sandor, who talks about revolution and performs magic tricks, and Zita, the family's live-in maid who has taught him the consoling mysteries of prayer. Steeped in the magic and myths of childhood, yet haunted by a harsh adult world, bedeviled by instability and political turmoil, Joel Agee's The Stone World is an unforgettable portrait of a family that will inevitably invite comparison with another classic family story, that of his father, James Agee's A Death in the Family. Okay, that sounds great. And I have to say, I have never read James Agee, and I've never read A Death in the Family. So I might need to look into that. But this is coming out next month from Melville House Publishing. Joel Agee, The Stone World. So I'm really excited by both of these books from Melville House Publishing. And then the last book from like my new arrivals, and I have a couple I'm going to show you that I'll be reviewing, just because they're also fiction and historical fiction. But this one is horror. Yay! And it's the first time I've gotten a book from this new publisher. I think it's a subsidiary or an imprint of Tor Publishing, but it's from the new publishing arm of Tor. Yeah, it's from Tor. It's called Nightfire. And they even give me a book of a bookmark. Read it, love it, scream about it. Nightfire. So, yeah. You're one of the first readers of this Nightfire book. Books for the dead, living, and everyone in between. Tor Nightfire. You should check them out on social media. But, yeah, this is a scary book. This is The Last House on Needless Street by Catriona Ward. Look at that cover. Even got a blurb from Mr. King. He blurbs a lot of things, but Stephen King says a true nerve shredder that keeps its mind-blowing secrets to the very end. All right. I'm very tickled to have one of Nightfire's new books to take a look at it. It says here, in a boarded-up house on a dead-end street at the edge of the wild Washington woods lives a family of 3. A teenage girl who isn't allowed outside. Not after last time. A man who drinks alone in front of his TV, trying to ignore the gaps in his memory. And a house cat who loves napping and reading the Bible. Aww. An unspeakable secret binds them together, but when a new neighbor moves in next door, what is buried among the birch trees may come back to haunt them all. The Last House on Needless Street is an immersive and shocking journey that will keep you guessing until the last page. Wow. Now, Publishers Weekly. This is interesting. It's in the flyleaf here. The blurb is on the flyleaf at the bottom, and they gave it a starred review, which is big. It says this masterful horror novel packs an emotional wallop that lingers. You know, it looks like a cozy mystery or something. I mean, yeah, the house looks kind of menacing, but I was like, this doesn't look too terrifying. Plus, there's a little kitty cat, right? But I think I might have to tuck into this real soon. I'm really interested in both the emotional wallop and the shocking journey that keeps you guessing until the last page. I'm going to make a wild supposition that the cat is actually a person that has been, person has like somehow gotten trapped in the cat's body because, you know, reading the Bible. Hello, must be a person, right? I'm just guessing. You know, I've watched a lot of horror movies. I've read a lot of horror growing up, and sometimes you just can guess certain things. But I could be wrong. I'd like to be blown away. So, Catriona Ward. Oh, they even get, boy, they are just doing the they're doing the, it's a sticker. They are definitely get the marketing materials. And here's our author, Catriona Ward. All right, Catriona. She won the she won the Shirley Jackson Award for Best Novel. Wow, that's great. And that book is going to be reissued by Nightfire. Well, okay, she's an English writer. She is over there in England. Well, no, sorry. She was born in Washington, D.C. and grew up in the U.S., Kenya, Madagascar, Yemen, and Morocco. She's been everywhere. She studied English at the University of Oxford and later earned her master's degree in creative writing at the University of East Anglia. Okay. I am interested. Are you? The Last House on Needless Street. Um, okay, so those are. I think I've got you all caught up on most of my non-military history book arrivals. I'm trying to categorize them in my hauls. Like when I get a big stack of casemates and Osprey, I'm gonna try to just make separate videos for them, so that those of you that really love those can just find them quickly. And for those of you that don't, you don't have to watch. I'm just trying to give you stuff that's easily definable and findable. Okay, so that covers those. That covers all like the new items that have come in for fiction. And in the video I just posted before this one, you've got the history and the nonfiction as well. But I do have I still, doesn't mean we're out of books yet, folks. I mean, you probably can't see. I've got to start packing up books. House goes on sale tomorrow. But I do have some others that I need to show you, and I might try to make a ton more videos tonight because I don't know when I can do this again. Next book, I'm actually going to start reading tonight or tomorrow. I am reviewing this for a book browser review. My review is due on February 1st, so I need to get crack-a-lackin'. I had seen this come out somewhere else, or I knew about it, and this isn't an advanced reader's copy because this is coming out. This is this comes out February 8th. But I think it's going to be fantastic, and I think a lot of you are going to be interested. So I just wanted to share this with you. This is Black Cloud Rising by David Wright Fallade. I hope that's correct. Many of you know this portrait from the Civil War, and one of the black infantry regiments when they started recruiting and enlisting black soldiers to fight in the Civil War. So this is what this is about. Let me. And they even included a nice little piece on the New Yorker did with the author. So that's great. I like that they included that. But let me read to you what this particular novel is about. By the fall of 1863, Union forces had taken control of Tidewater, Virginia, and established a toehold in eastern North Carolina, including along the Outer Banks. Thousands of freed slaves and runaways flooded the Union lines, but Confederate irregulars still roamed the region. In December, the newly formed African Brigade, a unit of these former slaves, led by General Edward Augustus Wild, a one-armed, impassioned abolitionist, set out from Portsmouth to hunt down the rebel guerrillas and extinguish the threat. From this little-known historical episode comes Black Cloud Rising, a dramatic, moving account of these soldiers, men who only weeks earlier had been enslaved, but were now Union infantrymen setting out to fight their former owners. At the heart of the narrative is Sergeant Richard Etheridge, the son of a slave and her master, raised with some privileges but constantly reminded of his place. Deeply conflicted about his past, Richard is eager to show himself to be a credit to his race. As the African Brigade conducts raids through the areas occupied by the Confederate partisan Rangers, he and his comrades recognize that they are fighting for more than territory. Wild's mission is to prove that his troops can be trusted as soldiers in combat. And because many of the men have fled from the very plantations in their path, each raid is also an opportunity to free loved ones left behind. For Richard, this means the possibility of reuniting with Fanny, the woman he hopes to marry one day. With powerful depictions of the bonds formed between fighting men and heartrending scenes of sacrifice and courage, Black Cloud Rising offers a compelling and nuanced portrait of enslaved men and women crossing the threshold to freedom. I'm excited, and I'm excited to review this for Book Browse because it always includes a Beyond the Book article that I write in addition to the book review. So I will find something about this novel. I think I kind of already know what the subject of my article will be. But I usually like to get into the book about halfway through, and then I propose a topic for the Beyond the Book article for my editor, and just to make sure it hasn't been covered before, and usually it never is. So I try to find a unique angle on something, and and extrapolate and go beyond the book. It's what the title implies, beyond the book. So this is coming out February 8th. So be sure to request it at your library or keep your eyes open for it. I should say this is also, is this Atria or Algonquin? No, this is Atlantic Monthly Press. So this is coming out from Atlantic Monthly Press. They have almost a similar imprint to Algonquin. And again, I'll be reviewing it for Book Browse, and I try to share with you guys when my reviews are posted. You get a limited free access window to Book Browse, and I try to set those up so that you can read the review. Anyway, I'll be starting reading this tonight. And I've got a little more time on this one. In fact, I kind of want to read the first book in the series. I asked the publisher if they might send me the first book, just so I can be better placed to write this review. And I'll be reviewing this book for the historical novels review. And my review is due on March 15th. I'm probably going to wait to start reading it until after we're moved into the new house. Yay! But this is the second book. And this is an advanced reader copy. The first book was called Wolf. And I really want to read that first, but we'll see. But this is Sins of the Father by Herbert J. Stern and Alan A. Winter. And as you can see, the acclaimed novel Wolf. It follows, as you can guess from the swastika there, it's about Adolf Hitler, right? It says here, and I don't know how many of you out there have, this is what the first book, I'm sorry, they gave me a little business card there. Wolf, a novel. Okay. So it says here. Okay, in the tradition of Herman Wouk, Herman Wouk, I know that. The tradition of Herman Wouk, author of Winds of War and War and Remembrance, the novel Sins of the Fathers is the thoroughly researched historical sequel to Wolf. History hinged on a call as the German High Command waited for Hitler's order to invade Czechoslovakia. That was the signal that would launch the revolt to bring down the Reich. Every detail of the coup was in place. Access roads to Berlin would be blocked, the city sealed, communication centers taken. A commando squad, 60 hand-picked men, were ready to storm the Chancellery and seize Hitler. The only question, to try Hitler as a traitor or execute him on the spot. Sins of the Fathers is the eye-opening novel based on historical facts of the efforts of German military leaders, career civil servants, and clergy to solicit England's assistance to bring down the tyrant in 1938. When Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain refused to meet with them, they turned to Winston Churchill, who secretly supported their cause. Armed with a strongly worded letter from the future Prime Minister, they waited for Hitler's telephone call, ordering German troops to invade Czechoslovakia, the signal for their uprising. But the call did not come. Instead, Prime Minister Chamberlain went to Hitler's apartment in Munich only to bow to the dictator's will. The invasion was over before it began, and with that, so was the coup. Flying home, Chamberlain announced he had obtained peace for our times. Sins of the Fathers, the sequel to Wolf about Hitler's rise to power, tells the dramatic true story of the prime minister that undermined the coup to topple the regime, delivered Czechoslovakia to Hitler, saved the Führer's life, and paved the road to World War II. So basically, not a Neville Chamberlain fan club novel. Boy. All right. Yep. They're going to be, this is all about how bad Neville Chamberlain was. He did all those things. He undermined the coup, delivered Czechoslovakia to Hitler, saved Hitler's life, and paved the road to World War II. This should be good. So the first book was about Hitler's rise to power, and this one will definitely center around the halls of Parliament and Chamberlain and Churchill and all that good stuff. But you know what? I love my historical fiction and thrillers and war novels. I just love stuff like this. So, I mean, it's good stuff. So, and this comes out in February. My review is due in March, but it'll run. And yeah, so this is a sequel. I don't know how many of you have read the first one, but if you were intrigued by the first one, there's good news. This is coming out soon. All right. And we're at 40 minutes, so I basically did 40 minutes for both the nonfiction history hall and my fiction hall as far as new arrivals. So I think I've got you caught up on mainstream new arrivals. I do have a Naval Institute Press haul to show you. I've got Casemate books, and I've got books from Osprey and Bloomsbury Publishing, military history mostly. So I will put those into a different video. But for now, I hope you enjoy. Let me know what books look intriguing to you. And comment below. I'm so thankful for just your viewership and always coming back to see what we're doing here at the History Shelf. So I will try to make some more videos, you guys. Wish us good luck in selling this place quickly. And we'll talk next time. Bye.